Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Federica, and if you haven't seen my previous videos, I talk about having broken up from a marriage and navigating life as a single parent. Today we're going to be talking about childcare costs. Let's start from school. Childcare is the main, obviously, expense that you will have. Especially with babies and toddlers, if you choose to send them in childcare at nursery very early on, before when they obviously have access to free schooling. I decided to stay home with my daughter up till she was 1 year and 3 months, and then I decided to start going back to work in a part-time basis to begin with, all the way up to being pretty much full-time but not entirely. So I have my figures written down. We started so let's say we started with 3 times a week. That was a private nursery, the ones that do not do half terms, do not ever go on holiday, and they're pretty much open throughout the whole year, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and pretty much just closing for the couple weeks during Christmas and maybe Easter as well. I want to say I will be very rough, very approximate numbers, so yeah, this is my disclaimer. So for 3 times a week at this private nursery, we were spending £1,020, which is a lot, but still it wasn't the worst that it got. At the time, I was still, as I am now, splitting the amounts with my ex-husband. So my ex-husband and I, as we were together, we just went 50-50 with everything. We still do the same now, obviously just 2 things concerning our child. So yeah, we've always only done 50-50, and that's what has been working for us, what it works for us. And it might not be the case for every couple. 3 times a week, 1,020. Then I decided to work an extra day, so she started going 4 times a week. We were spending 1,530 for 4 times a week. Before then, she just switched to full time, which was roughly around 1,664. In the meantime, again, I can't remember exactly when from, we started having 15 hours funding, and later on we applied and we managed we were entitled, there you go, for the 30 hours of funding. So I can't tell you exactly what that came down to because I have figures, but school kept on increasing their fees as well. So again, I won't be able to give you exact correct figures. But yeah, so started with 1,020 all the way up to full-time, 1,664 with also 30 hours funding. So it would have been even more if we didn't have those. And I'll leave it to that. While she was doing that, she was at school pretty much 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. So we didn't really have to worry about afternoon, after school activities. We have now in September switched to public nursery. I knew it was gonna be a lot cheaper, that we were gonna save a lot more money. I remember at the beginning at the school when we've done our settling in, and I remember one day going into the office, I needed to sort out some app logins. I had some issues logging into some app, and I was like, okay, so I also wanted to inquire about fees. Like, she's been coming for 2 months or something, and we still haven't paid anything. And the, again, school office person was a bit confused. She was like, oh, this is what you pay for lunches, you need to pay this. And I'm like, yeah, but this is lunch, and what are school fees? So it is free with a 30-hour funding. All I know is that we because now it's normal state school, she will finish at 3:30. So then if we wanted her to stay longer, they have afternoon club set up. I don't quite know whether it's a normal thing for every school to have that. Probably yes. Again, I'm really new to the system. But anyways, so that is what we would have to pay. So we have 30 hours funding with school, and then with afternoon clubs, we have tax-free. So there are 3 different afternoon clubs. One is breakfast club, something around like £12, I want to say. And then there's afternoon club, the short version, 3:30 to 4:30, which again, I want to say it's roughly around £12. And then there's the longer afternoon club from 3:30 to 6, which is more like £19, maybe, roughly. And for that, we have tax-free. We don't send her to afternoon club every day or breakfast club. She would only go when she is with her dad. So if she has slept at her dad's place, she would go to breakfast club. And then if in the afternoon she will be with her dad, she'll go to long afternoon club. If she is with me, she doesn't do breakfast club. She doesn't do any afternoon club. We would just do afternoon activities. So in total, just to finish up the afternoon club or preschool clubs, what we do, because we have tax-free, you basically set up an account with HMRC. And again, I don't know exactly the details. All I know is between my husband and I, we put £200 in a month, and that pays roughly for the clubs that we need. There might be a little bit of leftover at the end of the month, according to whether or not there was half-term school camp, because these afternoon clubs also organize camps, and those would be £35 a day, which comes to £175 a week. So yeah, if there was if it was the case that we there was half term and we sent her there for the whole week, then those £200 maybe they would be just slightly short. We might need to top it up, or it would be just about right. And that's what it concerns to school. The other expenses, now that we are not in full-time school or nursery, we have afternoon activities outside the school planned activities, because I know from reception upwards, school organizes afternoon activities. That could be sports, that could be crafts, arts, whatever. Not for nursery. So at the moment, we are sending my daughter to jiu-jitsu, only because, again, it's literally around the corner. It is great, obviously, for their self-confidence and all of that, coordination, body awareness, whatever. And we have been struggling a little bit at the beginning, whether she would not really want to go anyways. Now she goes twice a week, relatively happily. And that is a bigger expense to what you could normally find out there. We pay £120 between the father and myself a month, although she could technically join every day of the week. She could go in for a session. We don't go in every day, we go in twice a week. And then in the weekend, we only recently picked up ballet again, but with a different school, super cheap. And so that would be Saturday morning, and for each Saturday of the month, roughly around £30, which is again roughly around £5 a class. Super cheap. She loves it, and it's great. Other expenses, obviously clothing. So what I've always done with my daughter, other than when she was just born, where my mom went crazy with all the new clothes, all these things, that either secondhand clothing. I don't really have a budget because I'm not one of those organized mom. I promise I will become. I'm promising to myself, because I really want to kind of be a bit more on it with finances. Anyways, normally it's a secondhand purchase through Vinted or charity shop. I do also buy new things, especially obviously like underwear, knickers, and And I don't know, hats, in saying that, I just bought a secondhand hat. You wash them, it's totally fine. But you know, sometimes you just like to purchase something that is new and packaged. We don't do that loads, we do that every now and then. I love vintage because as soon as we grow out of any particular clothes, we just resell them, and then what we earn, that money will go straight back into purchasing the new size, the new thing. So it's just money that stays in there, and we sell and we buy, and you're not really spending more money than that. Again, I don't have a budget. I should probably make myself a budget. And then the other one is food, which I don't have a budget. So realistically, I go to the supermarket every day, which again is something that I want to change, but I'm being brutally real here. This is what I do. And I pretty much spend £16, not every day, because the days she would be with her father, then I wouldn't have to worry about it. And then again, give it or take. And maybe there are things that are not dinner related, and maybe there are things that last longer, you know. But roughly is that. That's it. I think school, afternoon activities, clothing, food, and then medical expenses. Yeah, we spent a loads trying to figure out her eczema. We did approach this functional medicine doctor without really getting to the bottom of anything. But anyways, yeah. So medical expenses here and there. We are lucky because we don't have very serious concerns. And then, yeah, and the NHS pretty much covers it all. I'm not going to talk about holidays. Holidays, expenses, I'm going to talk in a separate video at another time. Please excuse me if I wasn't the most thorough person with providing all the figures. I'm just here to talk casually about my life. If you can relate or not, please comment below. Tell me about your experience, any question you might have, or if you just want to connect and again create this community of single moms living in London. Reach out. I'm here for you. Let's support each other. And yeah, I will see you at our next video, my next video. And thank you so much for listening. Bye everyone.